All right, everybody, I am back with a brand new DC update, and I cannot believe what is happening out there with the Flash film. Now, tomorrow, I do plan on doing a full spoiler review for people who want that, but I cannot believe how this company is going to get out of this without getting sued for the absolute lies, the flat-out lies that they told in the marketing of this film. And this goes beyond just speculation. It's things that they actually said versus what they did. They were definitely trying to get more people to go to the theater, and this movie is not tracking well. And I don't think it's going to have legs the way they expect, which is a shame. And they're going to sit there and they're going to blame it on Snyder fans, and they're going to say that the Snyderverse was dead. But the problem is, we have been deceived by the studio this whole time. Ever since Batman vs. Superman, the studio keeps deceiving the audience and promising things they're not delivering. And this was the most blatant example. And I'm going to talk about a couple things that they did versus what actually happened. But we have a few things to talk about first. So let's take a look at some photos here. So this is the first thing, and this goes to what I just mentioned. This is one of the biggest problems with this film. This was one of my followers sent this to me and said, this is the most pathetic excuse I've ever heard in my life. Our VFX are bad because it's supposed to be art. The Flash's visual effects are meant to look like that. Oh, man. Look at this other photo, though. The Flash's VFX looks weird on purpose, says director. Okay, this is crazy, guys. We were specifically told in that fan viewing and the showings that they had earlier to this that these were not finished effects. This was not the final product. You guys are going to have to come back when it releases to see the final version. Guys, I saw both movies. Nothing changed. It was the exact same movie. The only thing that changed was the post-credit scene at the end and the credits themselves. And what's weird about that is they didn't even have Ben Affleck listed in the credits, which was freaking odd. Everything about what they were talking about, it was just a lie to get people back into the theater. And I don't understand how they can get away with this. I do not get it. You cannot lie and promise something that you're not delivering. They're selling tickets on a lie. And so this is not one of those subjective things. I have one person who's a lawyer in my comments who's constantly attacking me. This is a blatant example of them lying to the general public in order to sell something that they're not delivering on. Blatant. This is one of the things. So let's look at some other photos here. Now, this is something that Sil Abdul had posted. It says, yes, the DeLuca mandated post-credit that originally was going to be in The Flash had been appearing again to his friend Barry, like in a separate dreamlike sequence, setting up a sequel. Keaton and Kaye were both outside the courthouse in the end and were joined by Cavill and Gal in civilian clothes. But they changed that. They were definitely going to continue on with this universe, but decided to do something different. And the post-credit scene in this movie was pathetic. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that here in a few minutes. So it was announced today. This is one of the big things that was announced today. And I do have an article we're going to look at here that talks about this, that Andy Muschietti is definitely going to be the director of Batman, the Brave and the Bold. And James Gunn, Peter Safran, Mike DeLuca, and Pam Abdy did put out a press release in regards to this, which is we're going to take a look at this. So here's the first part of it. It says, the announcement was made jointly Thursday night by Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdy, co-chairs and CEOs, Warner Brothers Motion Picture Group, and Channing Dungay, chairman and CEO, Warner Brothers Television Group. The Muschiettis had previously signed a first-look agreement with Warner Brother TVG in 2021. We had been hearing for some time that Andy Muschietti was circling to direct Batman Brave and the Bold, but with the WGA strike in effect, it didn't appear things were going to get locked down so quickly. However, Gunn and Safran wanted to make it official on a weekend where The Flash stands to open at $75 million statewide. $155 million plus worldwide. This is way lower than the projections. The original projections had just the U.S. at over 160 to like 180 million. 75 million, and chances are it's going to do less than that. There is a good chance it's going to do less than that. This is going to be doing probably way worse than they expected and will be, Black Adam type numbers, which is absolutely insane for what this is. And what surprises me about this, we're going to look at the rest of this article, but it looks like Warner Brothers Discovery likes failure. Like, they promote people who fail at what they're doing. This is not going to be a successful film. Now, I don't think that has to do with Andy Muschietti himself. In fact, I think he did an incredible job directing this movie. But they're promoting people who are coming out with bombs. But yet the people who are successful, they didn't want to keep them, which just boggles my mind. They go on to say, Gunn and Safran talked about the Batman Brave and the Bold at their DC Day back in late January. It's their version of the DCU Batman outside what Matt Reeves already created in the $771 million grossing The Batman and its upcoming sequel. Oh, it didn't make $1 billion. It's a failure. This new movie will feature Batman and his son Damian Wayne as Robin, who is a little son of a bitch, Gunn teased earlier this year. Assassin, murderer who Batman taxes on, who is Batman's actual son that he doesn't know exists for the first 8 to 10 years of his life. It's a strange father and son story about two of them and is based on Grant Morrison's run of the Batman, which was a pretty interesting run. We saw The Flash even before taking the reins at DC Studio and knew we were in the hands of only a visionary director, but a massive DC fan, said Gunn and Safran in a statement to Deadline. It's a magnificent film, funny, emotional, thrilling, and Andy's affinity and passion for these characters in this world just resonates through every frame. So when it came time to find a director for The Brave and the Bold, there was really only one choice. Luckily, Andy said yes. Barbara signed on to produce with us, and we were on our way, the duo continued. They're an extraordinary team, and we couldn't have better or more inspiring partners as we embark on this thrilling new adventure in the DCU. Muschietti's Warner Brothers studio deal, DeLuca and Abdi said, "We couldn't be more thrilled to strengthen our long-standing partnership with these unceasingly driven, incredibly gifted filmmakers. Between Andy's singular skill and vision as a director and Barbara's sharp, far-sighted instincts as producer, they're a true filmmaking dream team and channel their lifelong passion into films that deliver as both compelling human stories and heart-pounding crowd pleasers. It's one of the reasons their movies connect so broadly and powerfully with audiences all over the world and dovetails perfectly with the kind of films we want to make." Wow. I could say so much about this, about previous directors and their producers, and I don't understand how so many people could have been shafted in the past, but these are the right people. And again, these are coming off of failures. Andy and Barbara are singular artists whose vision and passion for Welcome to Derry has blown us away. We cannot wait for fans to see the next captivating and horrifying chapter of the It universe when it comes to Max. I am actually looking forward to that. I enjoyed those movies. We are excited to continue our partnership, and we look forward to telling many more stories with them in the future. Warner Brothers has been an incredible partner to us for years now, but more than that, Warner's has been part of our whole lives, said Andy and Barbara Muschietti. We were watching movies before we could walk, and we spent our formative years as kids at the drive-in, and now are joining the Warner Brothers family. It feels like a full circle moment. Knowing Pan and Mike as long as we have really makes it feel like home, and we couldn't be more excited to continue working with Channing and Brett Paul on the television side. All right, and then the last photo I have here, I think this is the last one, is it says, Aquaman 2 is reportedly horrible and unwatchable. We've already had Jason Momoa come out and kind of talk about how much of a comedy this movie is and kind of how stupid it is. And you had James Wan come out just last week or the week before and talk about how his movie has been butchered by the studio and he couldn't even make heads or tails out of the story anymore. These are not good things. Like, they're already prepping the audience for a failure. Like, think about your two main people, the director and your star, coming out and making these statements, and the studio's not stopping them. Like, this is some of the craziest, most asinine stuff I've seen with a studio ever. And I really loved the first movie, but this looks like this is going to be an absolute disaster. This is just absolutely some crazy stuff coming from the studio. I've never seen anything like this. And I'm not just blaming Gunn. I mean, the buck stops with David Zaslav. Like, how can a studio do this and be okay with it? Let's talk about this other thing with The Flash that I think is just incomprehensible. Just last week or the week before, and I had a video on this. This was one of the things that I talked about. Barbara Muschietti specifically said that the post-credit scene was something very special, that the fans were going to go crazy for, that it was something that was going to please audiences. It wasn't. It was one of the most awful post-credits things I've ever seen in a film. How they can blatantly lie about what they're doing is just, how do they get away with this? It's a complete lie. I really do believe there needs to be a class action lawsuit that everybody joins in and goes after Warner Brothers Discovery for. Warner Brothers has been deceptive for years, and they actually are ramping it up. This is the worst I've ever seen it. Like, I cannot believe the outright lies they have told with the marketing of this film, especially the two things that I talked about today. It is extremely deceptive, and they're doing it in an attempt to sell more tickets. That is not marketing. These are flat out lies. All right, so what do you guys think about these most recent developments? I will be covering all of the news that gets released. I do plan on doing my spoiler review tomorrow on The Flash, so come back for that. And if there's any more news, I will be reporting on that as well. Those will be separate videos, though. I do appreciate all the support. If you haven't already, like the video, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and you will be notified as I have new videos go up. All right, we'll see you on the next video.